For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson. On Monday, we reported that DJ Vlad was facing backlash after threatening to snitch on a Twitter user to her employer for insinuating that he cannot comment on a rap beef due to his race. The Twitter user has since been identified as Morgan Jerkins, a former professor at Princeton University, and the internet has come to her defense after Vlad's threat. Now, if you remember over the weekend, Vlad would criticize Kendrick Lamar's Not Like Us, saying that it needs a better mix. Jerkins would respond to Vlad's tweet by stating that he's white and this is a black folks affair. This led to a back and forth between the two, which would end in Vlad telling Jerkins he will reach out to her employer at Princeton about one of their professors criticizing him for voicing his opinions on rap. Well, after receiving a lot of backlash on Wednesday morning, Vlad would issue an apology via Twitter, where he wrote, "After considerable reflection, I would like to apologize to Morgan Jerkins for tagging her job in my replies during our Twitter exchange last weekend." Several social media users would immediately respond to Vlad's apology with their own thoughts. One user would say, "Right move. Now sit her down in your chair and interview her about the subject and let's get a healthy conversation going. It's not the mistake, it's what comes after that counts." Another user on social media would chime in and add, "You only saying this because of the backlash. If there wasn't any backlash, you wouldn't have had a considerable reflection, let alone apologize. Facts." While one more would add, "Well done. Personally, I think you could have expanded more on the apology in the same way you detailed your initial frustrations with her. But the apology is a great first step." This new apology has the culture wondering where people's dislike of DJ Vlad comes from. Is it just because he's white? Or is it because he's a white man that's made a career out of profiting from black people and our culture? Joining me is our very own John Abba to discuss this further.
Yo, I'm starting off with a clap.
What's the clap for?
The clap is for our people uniting and really kind of like starting to be gatekeepers of the culture for themselves. Because a lot of times we get criticized about like, oh, look at the Jewish community, look at the Asian community, they always uniting. This was an example right here in real time of black people saying, you know what, we're not gonna go for that right there.
Yeah. And
so that was my applauding the black people that did speak out. And then now we have someone apologizing, because we always talk about people not apologizing to our culture. So I commend us for stepping up and being able to show that, yo, we're not going to tolerate certain stuff. And I think that's a great way to continue this energy of 2024. Absolutely.
Now, let me get your reaction to it. When you saw his apology surface, what was your first reaction?
I was actually surprised, because I remember there was a time when Vlad was getting criticized for comments about Farrakhan, and he was really reluctant to apologize. I don't know if he's in fact has yet to fully apologize publicly about it.
Yeah.
But I remember like him kind of like being reluctant about it. Now in research, I have seen Vlad apologize in the past over different incidences, but I was surprised because I was like, damn, okay, like he kind of like maybe it has impacted the business for him a little bit, where he's like, yo, I need to like kind of put that out there. But I was surprised initially. Yeah. What about yourself?
Yeah, no, same thing. I was surprised. I'm not a huge fan of the work that I see DJ Vlad do, if I'm being honest. But to see him apologize, I was very surprised. But like you too, I was excited to see us come together and push for that apology. Because even at first, he was kind of like still going back and forth with her and didn't understand people that were commenting and saying, you're using your whiteness and proving her point. You know, you're saying, hey, I'm going to call your employer. Yeah. And it's so I was definitely surprised. I think today when it was said that he apologized, I was like, oh, like really? Where? I was like, where?
We need to talk about it. Because I think, you know, the issue, at least my concern with Vlad is I'm not mad about like white people, you know, they're gonna come and go in our spaces. They've always done that. I think it's more so like having a level of respect, because I can't see myself going into a different culture and building something there and not at least being on code. Yeah. And so I think his mishap was that he didn't move on code, because what he did was a level of snitching, is what we call it in our community. Yeah. And that's not on code. And I think that's where people use that against them, because we know as black folks, we don't fool with that. We don't fool on tattletelling. We'll handle it ourselves. So if you're gonna be a guest or someone, a part of the community that's not fully from the community, then just like be on code, at least be on code. Because there's a lot of cool white boys, white girls that really like contribute to the game of hip hop that still move with code. So I don't like the narrative that like black people aren't gonna allow other people to exist in our space. It's just that if you are, you're gonna respect it, and if you don't respect it, things like this is gonna happen.
Yeah, because even when I saw her tweet, I didn't take it as like, oh, if you're white, you can't do this. To me, it just felt more so it's what comes with DJ Vlad, the way that the culture views DJ Vlad, not just because he's white. So I feel like it was just kind of a weapon being used, because in a conversation where you're debating about hip hop and then you say, I'm gonna take it to your employer, it's just like you're pulling out a card, because this isn't a big conversation for you to take it to my employer or tag my employer.
Well, I think he probably was, he probably was triggered by that. He probably was hurt by that, because, you know, I'm gonna give Vlad the benefit of the doubt to a degree that he is a fan of hip hop. Let's just say he's a fan of it at minimum. Right. And we know just statistically and through like data, majority of the hip hop audience is white, because white America is the majority. So let's just say like he is a hip hop fan, and I think it does hurt him when he's kind of constantly reminded that, hey, you're not us. Yeah. You know, what's the Kendrick song?
Not like us.
Not like us. So he's constantly hearing that. Might have been a trigger, Vlad. I don't know, but just to kind of like, you know, I'm sure that bothers him if he's kind of moving at least with a grain of like, yo, I'm a hip hop fan. I want to do these hip hop interviews, and then like he's constantly kind of reminded like, yo, you're never gonna be fully in. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, same. But like you said earlier, I just wish I saw him do more good for the culture. But let me ask you, because conversations like these come up a lot, right? Like, and it doesn't matter whether it's in hip hop, sports, anything. There's a, who do we blame in situations like this where you have, you know, a said DJ Vlad or whoever may fill in that void, and we say, you know, black people, you know, we're upset at what he's doing. We're mad that he's continued to grow. We don't like him, you know, doing the things for our culture, but his numbers are continuing to grow. He's continuing to have, you know, black people on and so on and so forth. Who do we blame in situations where we have
It's a unique situation. So I'm gonna try to like lay it up as clear as I can. Yeah. So one is, I think Vlad has done a job to bring in guests that our audience wants to see. So I don't think, and I can probably say I know, that people aren't going there for Vlad's like perspective only. I think that like, I'm sure he's been able to give different, you know, perspectives on different points, but I think it's more so I'm there for the guest. Right. So I'm gonna follow this influencer or this black actor, black actress, this musician, rapper, XYZ. So I think that a large part of the responsibility is on these black entertainers that choose to go there. DL Hughley, I'm gonna put a question mark on it. Out of fairness, I truly respect you, but I do put a question mark on your decision to go up there, mainly because you're influencing other celebrities. That is cool, because you have influence in your network, but also you're making our people having to go see you when you have other options. We have never did an interview with DL Hughley on our platform, and I think there's been attempts to. Take it with the information that you will. Right. So I put it a lot on the black entertainers, and you have to dissect them. And why are you up there? Are you up there because you need the visibility? Are you up there because you are, you know, somewhat of narcissist that needs attention constantly, because Vlad has damn near 5 million subscribers? Are you up there for what reason? Because maybe your white handler said this is a good look. Like, what is your reason as a black entertainer for being up there? Yeah. So I really blame them. And then to go to the audience, I'm calling the audience out too. Like, y'all want to cancel this person, but you can cancel them. You know how you cancel them? By not watching their shit. Simple as that. You don't have to tell people, we should cancel Vlad. Don't watch his stuff if you feel that compelled about his content. And guess what happens? He starts losing viewership. When you lose viewership, he loses money. And if his overhead is big enough, it's going to impact his business. And then he will naturally fade out. That's your strategy. Now, do I want to see that happen? That's not my spirit. Yeah. You know, at the end of the day, Vlad, I'm sure, has invested a lot of money into his platform. And I also don't want to walk away from this conversation just like bombing on him. I think that what Vlad has done in terms of building this media empire that he's did is commendable as an entrepreneur to another entrepreneur. It's like, damn, that's dope that man or that person was able to do that for themselves. I think that the question mark is, are you a sponge business is what I call them. So those businesses in the hood that are non-black businesses, that are like nail salons, chicken spots,
clothes,
all those different businesses. Yeah. If they're not contributing right back into that community in some type of way, I just see you as a sponge business. You're soaking up our resources. So strategically, Vlad, I think the apology is solid, but I also think some action would be really fly for you too, because we're not like, you know, sometimes black folks get called racist. I don't know if you heard that, because we're like, you know, we kind of can set certain boundaries at times about who's allowed or whatever. But we also are very, very, very accepting people. Yeah, yeah. And my closing thought is, I think, Vlad, if you came in and respected that, damn, I'm able to kind of like exploit these different stories or use these different stories. I need to be on some gangster shit. Like, I need to show that love back.
Yeah.
Like, take a portion of your bread and do a college fund. You know what I mean? Like, show that, yo, I respect what y'all have been able to allow me to exist here. And I think that's gonna be a lot more of a long-term plan. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree, because we have these conversations all the time, especially with the work that I do and just trying to make sure the black dollar circulates within the black business, the black community. I do think it's important that you give back, you know, whether you're black, white, whoever, right. But, you know, it does, you have to understand, like, the things that we've been through as a people, like, we've always been we've always been taken advantage of.
Right.
So anytime we feel like, oh, you're coming here to take advantage of me, and I don't see you doing, doing anything positive or giving back to me, then we do find situations where people are like, you know, I don't want to hear from you.
I just don't want to have us keep empowering other people than ourselves.
Yeah.
We got the real power. So again, it's not about just on Twitter, because it's going to trend for like a day or two. And then it's going to go on, and then Vlad going to come, because Vlad has not stopped yet. I can tell he has great work ethic, so he's going to continue on. But it's going to have to get to a time when we understand, like, damn, we got real power. If we don't want to see this person do X, Y, Z, we can stop supporting them. Yeah. We should stop. And then you black entertainers, I just got big question marks on y'all, because at what point is it going to stop being about a bag or a look? Because I've heard that, you know, sometimes Vlad is offering money to go interview up there. Yeah. And so I get it. You know, at the same time, it's like, but what's the overall game plan? Like, is this benefiting us? And when you have outlets like ourselves, The Art of Dialogue, Shannon Sharp's podcast, a few other of these channels that are, you know, owned and operated by us, it's like, you don't have to just go to Vlad anymore. Yeah. But I also don't want to make it feel like, again, it's like F Vlad or cancel Vlad. That's not my energy as a person. However, if you don't like what someone's doing, just stop supporting it. So I want to hold us accountable. Yes. I'm not worried about Vlad, because we've seen this before. We've seen these people come in our community and they open up these stores. And we've seen it. And we show up and we line up, and then we mad because they do what they've been doing in history. Y'all talk about my Damon Wilson interview. Damon tells me the game don't change, only the players. So the game has told us time and time again that certain people that ain't us ain't for us. So we need to wake up, stop being naive and being surprised when a shark bites you, when they've been biting your granddaddy, your grandma, your great-grandma. So let's just knock that off. That's my truth. So I'm holding the black viewer, you at home watching this piece of content right now, I'm holding you responsible. Every time you click on something that you don't like, start watching. You supporting it. Yeah. Every time. So hopefully you like what we do here. So click in here, you know, leave the comments, whatever. But every time you watch something, every time you support, that's what your view is, your vote. That's our campaign. Like, your view is your vote. So who you voting for? You gonna vote for us? Or you gonna vote for them? So with that being said, I do have a statement that I was able to get though, but. Okay, no, well, I was gonna ask you, because something that you brought up about, you know, some of the artists going on there to get a bag. What is your thought about the bag culture? That being like a motivator, because I feel like as a whole in our culture, that's a big thing. It's like, I gotta chase the bag. I gotta get the bag. I gotta go after it. I'm gonna keep going to Vlad because he's paying me for it. I'm gonna keep going over here because they're paying me for it. We're gonna always be slaves because we don't have the majority of the money here. So if we're chasing the money, we're gonna always be a slave to the money.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like someone will always be empowered to like, hey, well, I can give you a little bit more. Do this, do that. So we got to get back on our principles. And I will say kind of in my closing remarks is that unfortunately, the discipline to support each other is going to be so much greater for ourselves. White people don't have to think about supporting each other because it exists all around them. Right? They could just like go to Target and they are supporting a white-owned business. I'm gonna go to the bank. So the discipline for us has to be much stronger. We have to be very intentional about supporting each other. That is gonna be something I think we have to work on.
Yeah,
because there's obstacles about us that like, you know, it's like, damn, like, you know, like it's hard to go out my way sometimes to support us. I gotta go find it, you know, I gotta watch programming like Black Friday Report to put me on game. And that at times may not be getting a large amount of distribution like other outlets are getting. So when I see that, it's like, it's gonna be on us to save ourselves.
Yeah. You
know, I did have a statement.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say, can we go into
this statement is from Slauson Girl out of the Crenshaw area.
Shout out to Slauson Girl.
Los Angeles. She's a journalist out there that has been doing the work. And I was just asking her, like, you know, I said, you know, maybe you could send a statement in from your perspective about the Kendrick thing because she's LA and then she's also a black woman in journalism. So this is what she was on saying. She's on some real journalism stuff. So, you know, no knock to the YouTubers of the world, but this sister right here went to school for it, and she went on to say, I asked her if you can send this shortly. Do you think Vlad's opinion matters on Kendrick versus Drake? She wanted to say it's not so much if his opinion matters because he is someone who, whether we like it or not, is anchored in our community because we allowed him to build himself up off black people and black culture as a Russian Jewish man. The real issue is his lack of respect for black people and not having any boundaries. This has been called out constantly in regard to his interview style that comes off as a police interrogation. This latest move threatening the employment of a black woman, telling him we don't care about his opinion, no matter his platform, shows that deep down disdain he has for black people and in particular black women. VladTV boldness as a guest in hip hop culture is because we have failed to gatekeep as black people. And I think that's what it comes down to. So that's why I was applauding for us at the beginning of this conversation. Is like, that is what we need to do more of. Hopefully it doesn't just stay within the Twitter world, but clearly that is one place that we can flex our power. Yeah,
and I mean, there have been other brands, I bring it up all the time, where we put money into all the time. I won't go and naming them, but you see them all the time. They're in the songs, they're in hip hop, and they've shown time and time again that they don't care about our culture. Whether it's they're putting out something that's obviously against us, you know, going with stereotypes and things like that, but it's like we still give them money because it's the Gucci. And it's just, I gotta have it, I gotta have the bag. So it's like, at a certain point, we do have to stand in place to say, you know what, we're not gonna tolerate this, because this is not what we value as a community.
Yeah, it's just tiring. It's just sad. It is. You know, if you really think about it, like, we shouldn't be having this conversation because guess what? You know, Vlad's gonna apologize. We'll move on. 4 months later, he'll say something else slick that we don't like, but his brand will continue to grow. And that's like the brands you're mentioning, you know, as well. It's just like, at what point are we gonna be like, nah, we cool? So if I'm an influencer in my position, I just don't watch certain things.
I'm a stay optimist. My hope and pray is that conversations like this and what we see on Twitter and what people are constantly seeing on the feed are just seeds being planted. We may not see it in our time, but I'm hoping that as, you know, life continues and we evolve and all this kind of stuff, we start to see people actually put plans in place, put structures in place. No, we may not have the power and the money, but we have power in numbers. We have power of our spending dollar and being able to see the value in that to make the change.
And then maybe this is the tide is turning, right?
Yeah.
Because Vlad, if I look at the statistics of it, I don't think Vlad has necessarily like got another wave of millions of followers.
Right.
So these people are kind of like, were already subscribed to him for some time. So that lets me know that maybe that audience that was once subscribed is kind of awakening up.
Yeah.
To where at one point it was cool, it was new, you know, it was innovative, and maybe now we're kind of like, maybe this isn't how we're supposed to go about it. And do you have other options coming up too? So I just hope that our folks understand that we're in power. We gotta stop empowering other people. We gotta stop saying the white man to stop beating me over the head, and then move our head out the way from getting hit over the head. So I really put it on us and the black entertainer. I put on the black entertainer the most because they gotta have some responsibility about where they're leading their people, because they are the influencers and they gotta own that. And if not, then what you doing it for? You doing it out of selfishness? You doing it just to be seen? You doing it because you had some trauma and no one liked you when you was a kid? Like, how deep does it really get? So when comes to our platform, it's like, yo, if you gonna see me up here, because I know y'all be like, why he up here? It's like, yo, at least I'm trying to push us this way. I'm trying to push us forward.
Right.
I don't give a damn about the attention. I ain't been on camera for like X amount of years, and y'all know that. Go back in the catalog. But when I do come on camera, this is the energy that I'm on, and this is the message that y'all gonna get. We're gonna keep going, and I don't know how much blacker y'all need this to be here. But with that being said, I want y'all to really think about that. Your view is your vote, and you showing me right now who y'all voting for when y'all continue to watch certain content and then get mad that the people that you're empowering don't really like your ass and you looking crazy. I'm telling you that I'm riding with you. I'm you. Symphony you. So why are you not gonna vote for who you? Work on the I don't wanna say self-hate, but work on that. We gonna work on that. We the new Gucci. We the Louis Vuitton. We the top. We the upper echelon.
Yeah.
This is HBO. This is MTV. This is how I'm thinking. This is how I'm coming with our platform, and I want you to see that too at home. But with that being said, it's been a great time.
Yeah, absolutely. I noticed you didn't wear your bulletproof vest today or whatever.
Nah, God got me.
Come on now, God got you. Well, thank you so much for joining me in on this topic. You heard from us. Now we want to hear from you in the comments below. What do you guys think of Vlad's apology to Morgan Jerkins? Was it sincere? And what do you think of Vlad's place in rap as a hip hop journalist? Let us know in the comments below. And stay up to date with the latest news and comedy by subscribing here to our YouTube channel. Check out Hypers Club for all your cool and original merchandise and content. And for our YouTube viewers, if you like this story, send us a super thanks by hitting the button below, and you can tip us what you want to show your support. For Comedy Hype News, I'm Symphony Thompson.
Did y'all enjoy that? We got so much more for you at hypersclub.com. Our exclusive interviews and backstage content gives you the chance to feel a part of the club. Come on and join.